Welcome everybody, my name is François Letarte and this is my channel JDR D30, a channel about tabletop role-playing games. So this will be the third video of my series on kids in library. Yes, this video will focus more on what I did this summer with the kids from 9 through 12 years old with the game that I have chose. It will be some sort of the result, how it went. The two videos before were more about searching the right game to fit my needs to run a game in a library. So yeah, I will, just in case you don't know me, I work in a library and I'm a role-playing game fan, so I have introduced role-playing games as one of the activities of the library. And yeah, I have specific needs. It was a big search to find the right game. First of all, I work during weekdays, so that is my schedule. My work schedule. I don't work in the evening where everyone is available. And I also don't work in the weekend. So yeah, when I offer role-playing games, it's during days off from school. And also, during the summer. So I needed a game that was easy for me to run. You know, something that is simple, that has an effect, that makes that help feel the players that they have done something. And I found it for the kids, it's Hero Kids, but I will talk more about Tranchons et Tracons. Okay. So when I prepare a game, just to start with, I work with a series of one-shots. And I have some sort of a bind, something that ties it all together. Because I have to satisfy the need of different type of kids that are coming. I have the regular ones who are almost always there for a certain period of time. Might be long, might be short, but they are the regular ones. And I need them to feel that they are part of a big story. The irregular ones, that will know about the big story, but will be there once in a while. And the one shots, the kids that I will see only once. My goal here is to make them feel that they have been part of a whole story with an ending, and they can tell the tale about it when they come back home. Okay, so the context in which I have to play. This summer, it was superhero role-playing games. During the summer in the library, we are following the TD Summer Reading Club program. Well, some sort of a program. It's more of a suggestion. Okay, every year the TD Summer Reading Club is something that is held throughout Canada to provide promotional tools to encourage kids into reading. Every library has come up with their own program of activities to offer to do that, and yeah, within the activities we offer at the place I'm working in, role-playing games is there. Why superheroes? It's because the theme, every year the reading club provides a subject, a theme on which to work on, and this year is Canada because of the birthday of the country. The other years before, I was providing fantasy role-playing game, going with the classic type of role-playing game, and it was okay because it fitted the subject of the reading club. It was the years before there was kind of science, nature, invention, stuff like that. So fantasy could always fit with that. Okay, but this year with Canada, fantasy didn't work well in my opinion. So yeah, superheroes I think was more natural. It's more easy to imagine superheroic characters fighting villains in a Canadian scenery. It was a good way to get through Canada. Yeah. While preparing the game, I decided, at first I wanted maybe to have some sort of character creation process, but it would have taken too much time. And at the same time, yeah, providing pre-gens is something I did a lot on the role-playing activities. So once in a while I make character creations, but this time no, pre-gens. Also, the library is a cultural place. We have a cultural mission. So why not match the cultural mission with the role-playing games and present the kids some existing superheroes from comic books that are available. Okay, so I've made a search trying to find Canadian superheroes throughout any publishers. It might be Marvel, DC, or any others that had superheroic Canadian characters. And I found a bunch of them. I will tell you some of those that I remember right now. There was a lot. I remember a lot, so those who were used during the game. So, of course, there was Wolverine, which is probably the most popular one. If you are asking, no Deadpool. Deadpool was not there. 9 through 12 years old, you know, with the language of Deadpool, I just felt that he was out of the league. I had the Alpha Flight, which is a very popular superheroic band. With the Alpha Flight, I had Snowbird, Aurora, Northstar, The Vindicator, Puck, Sasquatch, Shaman, Talisman. Okay, just to name those. I had Superman. Yeah, Superman was created by a Canadian, someone from Ontario, Joe Shuster. Well, the character himself is not very Canadian, but he has its Canadian origin, and being it's a cultural part of Canada to say to the kids, hey, it's a Canadian creation. And with the same move, I've made Supergirl part of the team. Yes, she's the least Canadian of the bunch, but she's the cousin, a copy-paste version of the other one. So, yeah, she was passing the test. And yeah, I had Persuasion, which I think she was some sort of an X-Men. Diamond Lil. Yeah, Diamond Lil. No one used Diamond Lil. She was cool, but no one used her. And some of the more obscure ones, you know, that are not DC or Marvel, I had Captain Canuck, which is quite popular. He looks like a lot the Guardian, one of the characters of the Alpha Flight that I haven't used, because they are dressed mostly the same, but I decided to choose Captain Canuck, which is some sort of a high-tech ninja, if I remember correctly. I had the Nelvana of the Northern Lights, which is a demi-goddess. Inuit demi-goddess. Very interesting character. I think she was created even before Wonder Woman. I have to check my source, but I've read somewhere that she was the first superheroic female character to appear in the world of comic books. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's a very old school character. Very cool one. I had a Polka Dot Pirate, a swashbuckling, crime-fighting superheroine. It's a mix of Robin and Supergirl, but without the ability to fly. Okay, and Captain Newfoundland, which is a very obscure one, but a very cool, very strange and cool character. It was used by one of the player, by the way. So, yeah. Tranchons et Raconte, the game I have used, I have learned something while trying to make those characters into character sheets, into pre-gens. I have learned that the game is well made if you create your character from ground up. Okay, you come to the game, you don't have a concept, you begin to read how to make a character, and then come up with a fully finished character, a character that is full alive from the game itself, coming out of the book. But the other way around is a little more difficult. That game doesn't fit that much well if you have already a concept and put it into the game. The characters I have named are concepts that exist. We know them. We may read what they do in the comic books or on TV or in movies. So yeah, we know them. I had to bend the rules a little to make them fit into the game. It was just a little more time, because by the end I was very satisfied with the character sheets that I had to offer to the players. So yeah, the character was really true to their, or close to what we know of them. So I was satisfied with that. I was happy with the result. Then I had to create a 3 adventure that was played 2 times by 2 different groups, but I had 3 adventures. I decided to have a plot with some portals opened by villains, super Canadian villains. Yeah, I have made some search to have Canadian villains. They wanted to open portals to bring back dead Canadian villains coming from a plane where they are to invade the world. As the character arrives at the first adventure, they were about to do that. But every adventure is about destroying one of the portals to delay the villains. The character don't know that big plot at the first adventure. They are just there fighting enemies and seeing that they are about to do something, but what? Okay. The first adventure was set in Percé, which is a village in the east of Canada, with a big rock in the sea. This is a tourist attraction. Okay, there's a big rock with a hole in it, called the Rocher Percé in French. I don't know the English name of that. Maybe you have saw that in photos somewhere. This is a very tourist attraction. So yeah, the first portal was in the hole. Okay, that is very cheesy. Okay, the first adventure was about that. It was finishing with some sort of a terrorist attack on the Quebec Parliament. Okay, with super villains behind that. And the main villain, the big boss throughout all the villains, was Graviton, that you can find in the X-Men. The second adventure was to be set in Toronto with the antenna pointing in the sky and opening another portal. The villains were able to use that. And yeah, they had to fight some strange clouds coming from the portals. They were beginning to know what was on the other side. And the first thing they saw was the clouds, were giving them lots of problems. The big bad of the adventure was Cyber. Yeah, another, I think it was the arch enemy of Wolverine. Okay, so Cyber was there. They had problems with that. And the third adventure was to be set in the Rockies, in the west of Canada, near Vancouver, on one of these highest peaks, where they discover that the last portal is on the highest peak of the mountain, guarded by Wendigo himself. And yeah, so to that adventure they had to attend to a hotel where there's a big conference given there by villains saying that it's the end of the world. And yeah, the very, very big epic battle where all the villains, they have killed the adventure before, and some others come out of the portal and they have to fight them again. That was about it. Okay, it's very broad what I said, but that was very broad like that on my sheet. You know, I had more villain stat than plot actually written. It was different groups playing the same adventure. Okay, with some sort of the same ending at each time. The play themselves, the kid had a blast. I had a blast. I had some practice with Donjon & Dragons. That was the first time I was using it for real. And yeah, I had a blast running that. You know, that was the perfect game. The combats goes fast. The action goes fast. The kids can go with their imagination, and you know, and the system fits that well. And we go towards the end, a cliffhanger. Well, and we do live the cliffhanger to its fullest with that game system. This is a very good game system. Two of the players that were there, by the way, had their own creations. Because they were part of the two test group that I had before the summer, and at some occasion, at some point, I made them create their character at first, in fact. So they wanted to bring them around the table. Yeah. The adventures, yeah. So many stuff went wild. You know what went wrong. You know, we had the scene where Graviton was crushing every heroes on the ground because he controls gravity. They had to struggle with that. We had the scenes, epic scenes where one of the player died because Deadly Ernest, okay, his super villain power is when he touches you, you die. Simple as that. She died, but Donjon & Dragons comes with a deck of cards that can have an effect on the game, and that girl who died had the card that was saying, "No, you made it. You were. It was close to death." So she had to explain why Deadly Ernest didn't kill her, and since it was an Indian American, very tied to the spirits, she decided that it was about that. So it was okay. That was quite an okay explanation. It was very cool. I had an epic death by the end. Polka Dot Pirate died. Cyber broke her in two after coming out of the portal. Oh man, that was very epic. I had Persuasion talking to her father. She's a that superhero controls the body of the others, not the mind, but they control the body. And it was a big epic duel between her and her father, but at the same time she was gaining informations on how to what was happening. What else did I have? What else that was epic? Big helicopter crash, villains on the top of the CN Tower, making some menace, holding some victims and saying we will drop them, and actually they dropped them. They had to save them, and cars being thrown everywhere. Some characters making some evil acts against the villains, and having consequences on that. All sorts of things happen. The players, well, outside Wolverine and Superman, they didn't know that much, the characters they had. So I wasn't there to teach them how to play them. I wanted them to have fun with them. So often they would do stuff that the real character wouldn't do, and I was letting them go with that. It was not the goal to stop them into what they wanted to do. It was just presenting them the characters, so maybe in the future they will find a book, one of the comic book, read that, say, hey, I was playing this character, So I was okay with that. And even when they were coming back and they had some sort of a character progression, they were choosing either a raise in one of their attributes or a power, they would choose stuff that wouldn't fit the character concept. But I was okay with that. Even the guy with Wolverine, who kind of know who Wolverine was, at some point he wanted to have a flying motorcycle, and I had a scene with him where he got to the United States to talk to Tony Stark. And it was quite a fun scene, playing Tony Stark and having to negotiate with him. And he failed his role. The character failed his role. So Tony Stark said to him, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm in a hurry. I have to go, and I don't have time to make your flying motorcycle." But it was quite a cool scene. Yeah, the characters had a blast. I had a blast. It was very satisfying. High action. Well, talking about the two characters, the two creations, I haven't told you who they were. It was the Indian American girl that I told you that mostly died, who was shape-changing into a wolf, and the other creation was a ghost. Simply the girl created a ghost. So that was their two characters. But I want to talk about that because some of the players after the third session told me, well, who are these characters? Why they have their own creation? So I have to explain to them. They were part of a test group before, so I had time to create that, because otherwise I wouldn't have time to create your characters. But I felt that they were interested in creating their stuff, finally. Probably, and good. It's normal. So I was thinking about it, because the next adventures I want to run is Star Wars for the fall, celebrating the 40th anniversary of the movie, celebrating the next movie that is coming out, and the library will also make a small Star Wars event showing books, movies, documentaries, and all sorts of stuff. So I had 3 sessions for Star Wars role-playing game. I didn't have much people subscribe to the show, to the adventure. So I was thinking, there was a day off just before the school began, the new school year began, and I said, I will try something. I had the emails of a couple of kids that came this summer and other ones that came in, years before. And I've wrote to all of them, hey, would you like to create your characters for Star Wars? It was a try because, in order for me to get on location and making an activity, I have to add a couple of people, in order for it. It must be worded in my, within my job. And I had a huge response. I wasn't expecting that. I had lots of kids around the table. I took Tranchon et Tracon, that can have a Star Wars, version of it. That is an excellent version. And we began to play from ground up, like Tranchon et Tracon should be. And it was a whole afternoon creating characters, and they had a blast. They are expecting to play Star Wars with characters they are created that feel Star Wars. I'm really looking forward to that. The only heartbreaking thing was there was too much kids. I only take 6 kids at a time around the table to run games, so we had to dispatch the kids. All of them at least plays 2 sessions. 2 of the lucky ones were able to get themselves into all the 3 sessions, but nevertheless, it had an impact. I had some old players coming back that I haven't saw them in years. They were just a little older, but they were kids. They were still kids. So, well, I'll see what I'll do in the future. I really need to expand that activity, training young game masters. I've tried that in the past. It hadn't worked, but I have to come back with that because I can't reach the demand. All of my games are sold out because they want to live the role-playing game experience. So I have succeeded. I have the right game now, a perfect tool, and yeah, it works. So that was my 3rd video. Hope you've enjoyed it. François Letarte, JDR D30, and up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.